known for wildin', never known for styling. With that chrome, I'm spazzing out. On my buck for nothing, on the block I'm bustin'. How could God forgive a clown? Like killer bees, I'm buzzing. Hennessy, I'm struggling. Ain't no way to drink this high. How could God forgive me now? Could he ever use a clown?
I really wanna be God's man. I really wanna see God's plan. I know it's more for me, I know it's more for me.
I know it's more for me.
Lord knows, let me be everything you want from me. Hey, hey. I keep on trying, I don't wanna lie, Lord, I don't wanna let you down. And every day, I get on my knees and pray for the pain to go away. And then you do it, renew me like I never blew it, like it's nothing really to it. I always end up with the God hand, and when I'm walking through the door, they know I'm God's man, yeah.
Man up, I'm coming. Sun up, I'm running. Turn up, still humming. Your baby boy needing his daddy. What's funny? We playing roles in reversal. Can't blame it on the women, that's so pitiful. And I ain't shooting at your boys on subliminals. All black in the bushes, I was criminal apostle.
I really wanna be God's man. I really wanna see God's plan. I know there's more for me, I know there's more for me. Lord knows, let me be everything you want from me, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Never known for styling. With that chrome, I'm spazzing out. On my buck for nothing, on the block I'm bustin'. How could God forgive a clown? Like killer bees, I'm buzzing. Hennessy, I'm struggling. Ain't no way to drink this high. How could God forgive me now? Could he ever use a clown?
I really wanna be God's man. I really wanna see God's plan. I know it's more for me, I know it's more for me.
I know it's more for me.
Lord knows, let me be everything you want from me. Hey, hey. I keep on trying, I don't wanna lie, Lord, I don't wanna let you down. And every day, I get on my knees and pray for the pain to go away. And then you do it, renew me like I never blew it, like it's nothing really to it. I always end up with the God hand, and when I'm walking through the door, they know I'm God's man, yeah.
Man up, I'm coming. Sun up, I'm running. Turn up, still humming. Your baby boy needing his daddy. What's funny? We playing roles in reversal. Can't blame it on the women, that's so pitiful. And I ain't shooting at your boys on subliminals. All black in the bushes, I was criminal apostle.
I really wanna be God's man. I really wanna see God's plan. I know there's more for me, I know there's more for me. Lord knows, let me be everything you want from me, yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, now what's going on? Apostle Fred Gooden, God's man on deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the new intro. We had fun doing it. We had fun making it. While you guys are coming on right now, Mary Smith, we see Mary Smith, Letitia, Christopher Martinez. Do me a favor. Y'all know what time it is when you come on. I need you to tag some of those brothers. Tag your father, uncles, nephews, those men that are in your life. Tag those men right now. We got a conversation that we want to have tonight. That we want to talk to you guys about tonight, definitely with the men. Hopefully, I'm looking for a guest to come on right now. Hopefully he'll be able to get on. He is definitely a point of the subject tonight. So while you guys are coming on right now, Christopher Martinez, what's going on? Letitia Sheena, how you doing? I cannot pronounce that, but while you guys are coming on tonight, listen, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you so much. We're trying to do different things this year with God's Man on Deck. Want to be more interactive with you guys. Want to get more conversations going with you guys. Sonia Williams, good evening. How you doing tonight? Again, want you to tag some of those brothers. Put those brothers' name inside that box. Put them inside your comment sections. We want this to come up on their page. Want you to connect with us tonight. There goes Elder Deloria. Thank God for you tonight. I'm waiting up. There go Francio Freeman. Jamal, how you doing tonight? I want to always thank God for my queen, my wife, my baby, Pastor Jamila. She is always in support, always right there by me. Whether I'm telling you, my baby is always with me everywhere I go, and I'm always with her. We're always close to one another. I thank God for her right now. And is like she always says, it is most definitely an honor for me to be in her life also. Kimberly Woodard, how you doing right now? I want you to put Christopher's name in there. Deacons, where y'all at? We want you to get in here tonight, have this conversation with us tonight. It is definitely one that we want to talk about. This is Apostle Fred Gooden, God's Man on Deck. You might not like my message, but you're going to love my love. That's right. I said it. You might not like my message, but you're going to love my love. Make sure that you set your notifications. Make sure you do that. Make sure that you set your notifications and that so you'll be a part of everything that's going on. We want you to be able to see it. We want you to be able to make it. Sometimes through the week, I have God's Man on Deck moments where I just jump on. Kind of like the one I just had. I was in the gym and I just had a word that came to me from the Lord. And I just jumped on and I shared that word. And it was definitely something that I was feeling definitely deep inside of me about that moment. I want you to tag a brother, tag a friend. I want you to share this live. Make sure you put it on your page. Make sure that you put this on your page. And so tonight, before we even go into the subject matter, I want to say this. I'm doing something new. New segment that I want to do with God's Man on Deck, and some of you ladies can be a part of this, and hopefully some of you guys can also be a part of this, also be in this conversation. Jeff Toy, how you doing, sir? How you doing tonight? Rufus, what's going on? Thank God for you, all the support that you do bring to this ministry. Wendella, how you doing? Burrows, how you doing? New segment that I want to bring to God's Man on Deck. I want to bring God's Man of the Week. Yeah, on Mondays, I want to do God's Man. I want to do on our God's Man on Deck on this platform, on this. I want to also do God's Man of the Week. Well, Apostle, how can I be a part of that? You can be a part of that by inboxing me. Some of these brothers, they go my mother coming up the line right now. Hey, mama, you can inbox me some of those brothers that are valued. Put what they do, put who they are. You want them to be one of the God's Man of the Week. You want to put them on. You want me to highlight them. I would love to highlight. I want to start highlighting men on here because as we begin to share the platform with other men and have other conversations, we definitely want to highlight men, want to big up men. Definitely in this time and in this season, especially with the temperament that is going on right now. It is hard. It is hard right now, most definitely, from so many things. There's so many aspects and things that are going on. And so our God's Man of the Week, you already know who this man is. I chose him because definitely he is the one that's definitely made an impact. He's made an impact on the culture in one day, in one interview, in one day. This man has made an impact on the culture, not just the secular culture, but even the Christian culture. He has made a mark. And that man, our God's Man of the Week today, it is Cat Williams. Yes, it is Cat Williams. Y'all say, I'm tired of hearing that man's name. Well, you're going to hear it tonight. It is Cat Williams. Why did I choose him to be a God's man of the week? It is because of the spirit in which he has released the truth. Like I said before, I don't want to go into what was good, what was bad, what he said was wrong, to say was right. I just believe that we're in a season where we ought to tell the truth. I believe we're in a season where the spirit of truth ought to lead everybody. Should we have decorum about some things that we say? Yes. And if you tell somebody, and if somebody says something to you, and you have, they have said it to you in confidence, then that's not something that you should say. Somebody have spoken to you in confidence, and you're some type of counselor, a person like that, a person that speaks to people and that confides into. No, you don't speak those things. But there is a time and a season for all things. And I think the spirit of truth, we are in a season where we need the spirit of truth. We got too many generals that are degenerates. I said it, and I said it. We got too many generals that are degenerates. And no, I'm not making reference to nobody, so y'all can go back and say that. We got too many pastors that are perverts. We got too many apostles that are apostates. We got too many evangelists that are evil. We got too many teachers that ain't doing nothing but teaching nothing, but they ain't preaching nothing. This is a season of truth that we must walk in, and it is imperative. It is imperative that we walk in that truth. So our God's man of the week this week is Cat Williams. I want you guys to inbox me some of those men. I want to have that man. I want to have his profile ready. I would love to have his picture ready. I would love to have all those things ready so we can show him and big him up on the next God's man on deck coming up. I would love to do that tonight. I want to talk about Black men's mental health. I definitely had a therapist that was supposed to jump on with me tonight. He just got a crisis. He got a crisis at 7 o'clock. He got a crisis. And so, I was going to divert, but I'm not going to divert. I think it's always a time for the spirit of truth to speak. And I think I'll just speak it from my standpoint, and I'll be looking for you guys' comments to come on now. And maybe you'll have some questions, maybe you'll have some comments, or maybe you have some things you can throw it in here. This is not by chance. It's crazy, or it's not crazy, because me and my wife, we didn't go into a conversation about what I was doing on God's Man on Deck. And just like when she gets up to preach, she always says, well, baby, you want to know what I'm preaching? I say, no, I want to be surprised like everybody else. I want to eat like everybody else. One thing about it, when you're a preacher, pastor, minister, anything of that sort, sometimes you need to be fed. And most times I ask my wife, no, don't tell me nothing. Get on up and just give me the word like they're getting it. And so she got up and she would begin to talk about, they go Kershaw Riley. Before I go on, Kershaw Riley, David Riley, want to thank God for you. In the God's Man on Deck intro, in the new intro that we have, there was a shirt I had on, same new God, same me. That shirt actually comes from Kershaw Riley and David Riley. Want to big them up. Maybe you can inbox them, Kershaw Riley, David Riley, if you want to get that shirt or get some of the apparel from them. You can do that. Definitely wanted to shout them out. Thank God for their new baby boy and his health. All right. So I want to thank God for you and thank God for that. I want to thank God for all of you that make God's Man on Deck. What? You make God's Man on Deck special. All right. So tonight I want to talk about mental health. Yesterday, like I was saying, Sunday, my wife dealt with it. I'll probably deal with it from a more personal standpoint. Since we'll be talking from this format, and Black men and mental health, and just defining it. When it comes to being a man, in most situations, we don't like to as men, we don't like to let people in right off the bat. and especially if a person that is a stranger. That's not something that we really do. So when it comes to mental health or mental therapy, for us as men, or Black men especially, we really just don't. That's something that we have to build up for. I think that what has really happened within the last 20 years or so, because of the way that the world has been going, because of the Trayvon Martins, because of the death that we've seen, because of all the things that we were supposed to get free of, that made life so traumatic, that we begin to say, maybe this is something we might need to do. All right, maybe this is something we need to try. So, for men in general, we don't particularly like mental therapy, counseling. First thing we think about is somebody getting in our business. And that's not the way that we really need to think about things. We need to change the way that we think about things so we can be healthier, especially in a state where it seems like things are getting worse. Now you got to get this. Things are not getting better. Things are getting worse. One of my favorite prophets in the Bible, and my wife hit on it yesterday. She spoke on it yesterday. One of my favorite prophets in the Bible is Elijah. And at the point, Elijah is running away from Jezebel because she has made this threat. And it was funny how he ran away after all of that. And he ends up under what the Bible says in King James Version. It says that he ended up under a juniper tree. Under the juniper tree. Now watch this, is something, and it's something very particular about the juniper tree, because not only he ended up under a juniper tree, but also Jonah ended up under a juniper tree. And both of them ended up under the juniper tree. And at that same point, both of them was in this point of depression. Both of these men of God end up sitting up under a juniper tree, and both of them are in depression. Under that same tree, Elijah begins to say, man, I'm done. Take my life. Why is it that we as men, and I'm learning to talk. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't such a talker until I came in contact with my wife that was an advocate for mental health and mental therapy. I wasn't really a talker. Like, I kind of prided myself on keeping my world closed in. I prided myself on not saying things. I prided myself on not letting you know what my emotions is. And so a lot of us men, we do the same thing. We kind of pride ourselves on it. And because we don't reveal what our thoughts are, sometimes we get ourselves in trouble. But the Bible speaks boldly. Elisha is up under his juniper tree. He has slayed 400 prophets. He has defeated Ahab and Jezebel. She makes this threat. All of a sudden, this fear comes upon him, and he forgets his identity. He forgets who he is. He forgets that God is with him, and he tells God, he says, man, this is the end for me. You might as well take me out of here. You might as well take me out of here. And I know what that feels like. The problem is a lot of us men don't talk about what that feels like. So we're hesitant to therapy. We're hesitant to counseling. We're hesitant to people, to telling people and giving people our business. So we don't get better. We don't get better. What we do is get secluded. One thing about me, I watch the men that's around me. And not only that, I watch the men that are around me, I watch how the women react, how the wives react to the men. A woman should never react to a man in a way where she looks scared. She looks upset. Like he says something and you can immediately tell that there is almost a veil of terror that comes over her. Not that he may be beating her up, but I'm going to tell you something. Abuse is not always somebody hitting you across your head. Abuse ain't nobody busting you in your face. Abuse is also words that come to degrade you, denigrate you, bring you down, break you down, make you forget who you are. And as men, a lot of times we take on these type of mentalities and we take on these type of postures because of the men that were in our life and the examples that we saw. And we thought that those examples were healthy, and those examples were not healthy. So and I saw it young. I saw it young, 16, 17-year-old, and watching other relationships where these young relationships, the dude is jumping on the woman and this type of stuff, vice versa. And we got to know that this stuff isn't healthy. You need to talk to somebody. Yeah. There is a necessity and a need for there's a need for counseling. On every fourth Saturday, we have the King's Council. We have the King's Council. We meet up. All the men meet up. The men that do want to come. Now, a lot of times, brothers that the ones that really need to come, they don't come. I'm trying to call somebody, right? I've been trying to call somebody for the past couple of days that won't pick the phone up. In a time where we need to talk, we won't talk. In a time where we need to hear some wisdom, we won't hear it. Why? Because we don't want nobody to know our business, because we want to stay perfect. Let me tell you something. Everybody knows that we're not perfect. Everybody knows that I'm not perfect. Everybody knows that you're not perfect. But what it is we do stuff and then we're embarrassed about what we've done. We're embarrassed about what we've said. We're embarrassed about what we've done. We're embarrassed about what we're embarrassed about what we have laid out. And so here we go again. We need counseling, but we won't take it in. When we look at black men now, and when we look around, I wanted to ask, is it getting better? Are you? The question for you is, are you getting better, my brother? Are you getting better being by yourself? Are you getting better really not talking to nobody? As a pastor, I went up to a brother and I said, listen, man, I know that you're used to not talking to anybody. I said, but I'm here. And I say, not only am I here, I say, man, you can confide in me. You're not going to hear your business again. Some pastors have messed it up because what they did, and I heard some of the most deplorable things, and I understand. That's why God's Man on Deck format is the way that it is. So I can be raw, I can be real, and I can say what needs to be said. I know some men don't trust pastors as being some of their counselors, and I understand why. I've had men that have spoke to me that they counseled the man, and then they counseled the woman, and then the next thing you know, the pastor was trying to sleep with the doggone woman. I saw it. I heard it. It was some of the most deplorable things that I ever heard. So, bruh, I understand why you are on guard. But if you can find somebody that you can trust, you got to talk. You can't just let things like that happen and say, man, I ain't going to trust nobody. I just ain't going to talk to nobody. I'm not going to talk to nobody. No, you can't do that. You can't be like that. You can't allow yourself to go inside this shell, because I want you to know something. That place where you won't talk to nobody at, where you won't even speak to your wife from, I had to learn. This is what I need to release. I had to learn how to talk to my wife and how to tell her things that I would usually. Listen, because a lot of these habits, they ain't start when I was a teenager. They start when I was a kid. You learn as a boy, especially as a black young man, you learn how to keep information tight young, especially if you don't think it's something that's supposed to be said. So we stop talking, and then we get worse, and then we get volatile, and then we get abusive. And then we start talking to our significant others like, you know what? It hurts me. And that may sound sentimental or soft to somebody, but trust me, your boy ain't soft. But it hurts me when I hear a man calling his wife out his name, calling her a B, or calling her H. That kind of stuff, that disturbs me. That type of talk disturbs me. And if you've done it, you ought to repent from it, turn from it, and apologize, especially apologize to that significant other and let them know that you'll never do that again. That's something that shouldn't happen. But you know why that type of stuff happens? Because you don't talk. You don't talk. I had to learn how. I'm still learning. I am in the process of learning. Because sometimes I don't want to say nothing because I'm too pissed. I'm too upset. And I would rather hold on to what is going on with me because I really don't know how I want to react off of it yet. There is a temperament that you have when you come from certain backgrounds. Like I said, on this format right here, sometimes we may come intellectual with whatever we're talking about. Sometimes I'm going to speak nothing but ebonically. Please respect, or please know that I'm trying to be respectful of everybody, but I want to become all things to all people that we may draw all men in. So we come from backgrounds where when stuff happened to you, sometimes not necessarily you don't want to share or you don't want to tell anybody what you're feeling because you still got a little revenge in you about what you're feeling anyway. You want to handle it on your own. So all the time when stuff happened, especially, and this was the way I moved. If somebody did something to me, and especially if it was a one-on-one thing, I ain't tell nobody what was done. I just waited and I plotted and I planned until I got the time. And then and I'm talking about before the blood, and I ain't by myself. I waited until I got the opportunity, and then I got him. However that got him was, whether it was violent, and I'm being honest, because this year, a lot of us have to get delivered, whether it was violent or whether I had to take something, whatever it was, and that was a mentality. So a mentality that I had was to not say nothing about somebody that had violated me in some way and wait to get them back. But when I became a man, I had to put away childish things. What do you mean? I can't react the same way. I can't move the same way. I can't talk the same way. I can't go and handle people the same way. And even if somebody did some things, the word of God is calling me to forgive them for. And it's going to be a process in that forgiving. I'm going to forgive. Watch this, because this is what we say. I'll forgive you, but I won't forget. I'm going to tell you something. I don't know how real that is. Because in order for me to really deal with you, I'm going to have to try to forget it too. Because if I keep remembering what you've done to me, at some point, it's going to be to a point where I really don't forgive it. Mental health is something that we really got to look to. When childhood has a lot to do with it. Childhood trauma are one of the main things that affects a black man. I don't care if he's a CEO in the business. If he came up a certain way and had to go through certain avenues before he made it to that college, before he got those degrees, but when you really talk to him about his background, before he was cleaned and polished, some of those things that happened to him, those childhood traumas that he remembers, those things he has to talk about, because that's the person, that's the trauma that you see come out when he popped. That's the trauma that you see happen when he's about to go off. And amongst black men, there's a lot of childhood traumas that happen. And those childhood traumas that we experience are still a part of us. I can admit it. A lot of my childhood traumas are still a part of me. And as life has evolved, I've been able to grow from them. But it's a process. I'm 52 and still I'm still growing out of and being delivered from some of my childhood traumas. It's just been recently, I think it's been recently that I was able to enjoy Christmas. What are you talking about, Apostle? As a man with children, I was always able to make sure that they had Christmas and that they enjoyed it, but it wasn't something that I really enjoyed. It was something that I did. I made sure things was right for family. I did those things, but it wasn't something that my heart wasn't nowhere near it. My heart wasn't nowhere near it. My heart wasn't nowhere in it. Ask me why. Because when I was a young boy, and this is not an embarrassment, I'm learning not to be embarrassed about what God delivered you from. We came from a background where there was a lot of drugs, violence, all those type of things. Came up in some apartments called University Plaza. I remember it like it was yesterday. We were robbed on Christmas. I said it. Gun put to my head on Christmas. I was a boy. And from that point, I remember even that night, my mentality changing. After that night, having a grown man point a gun at me, after that point, my mind, I became very volatile. I think from that point, I lost all fear. And it's dangerous to lose all fear. It is. To lose all fear is one of the most dangerous things it is, because now nobody can do anything with you because you have no fear. And so after that right there, Christmas really was nothing. All the innocence, it was gone. And so even after that, having children, buying all of that stuff, I was smiling and engaged for them. But for me, wasn't no joy. I didn't even know, and I didn't remember this until the trauma began to boil from the Holy Ghost and having me to remember, why do I even have this? I would come down and the look on my face was like trauma, childhood trauma. And so after that, I didn't care. Not for me. And so it doesn't matter where you arrive to. You can arrive to a place, you polished, you got degrees, all of those things are in place. You're blessed and highly favored, but there's still areas. There are still complex areas and areas that are going on in you as a childhood, especially as a man, that you ain't dealt with. I had to deal with that. Once I dealt with it, man, I began to enjoy Christmas again. It might not sound like a big thing to somebody, but it's definitely been a big thing to me. Because when stuff happens to you, when something happens to you, there's a traumatic trigger that goes off in whatever season that happened in. If that happened when you was 12 years old, there's a traumatic trigger that goes off in every one of those. There's a traumatic trigger. That happened to me. I'm going to tell you. And after that happened to me, I had other instances where guns were put in my head. I wasn't scared. Because once trauma hits you, you become desensitized. Once you become desensitized, you are dangerous. It wasn't until God put his hand upon me through salvation, through salvation through Jesus Christ, through the impartation of the Holy Ghost, I begin to even soften to be able to be dealt with. People would see me after I had been delivered, and I would be standing right in front of them, and they wouldn't know who in the world. I would have to say, "Hey, man," and they would say, I didn't know who you was. Why? Because when you're desensitized as a child, especially as a male black child, you become something else. You become something else. And traumatic triggers from your youth, from you being a young man, and some of you men, you keep going from relationship to relationship. I'm gonna hit that in a second. You keep messing up. You keep doing it because you ain't talking to nobody. You're not talking to nobody. Those childhood traumas. Why is it right now that black men are dealing with suicide the way that they're dealing with it? Man, I mean, we're dealing with suicide in ways that I just got to say, our culture of black people did not deal with suicide like that. You heard something every now and then, but we really never dealt with, suicide like that. And all of a sudden, in a black male culture, suicide is prevalent, like it's right there. You know why? Because the outlets, the time is changing. You have androgyny going wild. Androgyny, neither men nor women. Masculinity has lost its place in society. Because now masculinity can look like you're some type of arrogant. I mean, they put it in the same context. The male identity is being lost. And so there's very few conversations and people that you can have, because everywhere you look online, you either far left or you're far right. And so we don't really see a lot of healthy masculinity. We don't see a lot of that. Healthy masculinity is sought out in conversations and YouTube roundtables and things like that. So we don't really see. So our community, our brotherhood is not seen. So we don't talk. So guess what happens to us? Because we don't talk, because we don't meet up with people, we just kind of get in these bags, and then these voices begin to speak to us and tell us that we're, you're better off not being here. And so there's a rise in suicide now amongst black men. Why? We don't talk. I want you to talk to somebody. I want you to invite somebody in. I want you to first talk to those ones that are significant in your life. And then you need to talk to a specialist. You need to have a conversation with a clinical physician, somebody that deals with those things. It'll blow your mind. I talked to this bishop one time. He is a clinical psychologist. I mean, and we was talking about a matter that happened in my life that I didn't feel like had anything, and it was a matter about church. I didn't really feel like it had anything to do where it needed any clinical counseling. But when he finished with me, I was like, man, I ain't see that. I ain't understand that. Where that come from? And so he began to make me see how it was important, you need to see that it's important that you keep developing. Some of the suicidal thoughts come from you not developing into who your full identity is. And if anything ever happened in your life, if you've gone through traumatic breakups, if you have gone through divorces, if you have gone through losing jobs that were vital in your life and was a part of your identity, if as a black man, if you have gone through any of those things and those things have become losses, and you had to be reinvented, to reinvent yourself and to become someone else, or to be re-identified, it is a process. Because one thing about it, it doesn't matter how good things are in your transition identity. If your identity if you have not come back to the full place of who you are in your identity and how God have built you, you will constantly go through struggles because you don't know who you are. You forgot how you was built. And all of those things are reasons why. All of those things that happen are things that happen traumatically in your life, and they become indents. They become permanent fixtures, if it's not fixed, on places where you need to be fixed and you need to be delivered. You need to have conversations about this. I was blessed. Watch this, to go through a divorce, meet my wife. I was blessed to meet somebody that was able to deal with me, but it didn't stop the process of finding my identity again. Because when you go through something like that, what you'll do is you'll find somebody else to hide in. Why? You've been hurt. You've been broken. And because you've been hurt and you've been broken, and now you're in this process, you're looking for somebody to help ease the pain. You're looking for somebody to hide in. And what you'll do is you'll lose your I'm stuck in this place and not becoming who you are, who God has permitted or intended for you to be. Counseling is necessary, especially as Black men. I'm going to write a book on it one day. And the book that I write, I already know it's going to be a page turner because it's going to go in depth of the process. It's a process. Because when you are hurt by something and then God takes you into something else and you're hiding in there, guess what? It don't matter whether you was right or whether you was wrong, whether you did something or you didn't do anything. All you know is that you come into a place of fear and you just don't want nothing to happen no more. So you just want to, I'm going to just stay here. I'm going to just make sure I stay here. I'm going to just make sure. And what happens is you get stuck. It's most important. It is important. A Black man's mental health is important. Sir, you need somebody to talk to. There was one time that I had opened myself up, and I began to do not therapy on a professional level, but counseling as a pastor. I was doing counseling. I was giving out my number. I was talking to people, but I kept seeing that they really didn't want to really adhere to, because I'm gonna talk to you, then I'm gonna say you need to go to a specialist. We can have conversations, I could talk to you from a pastoral standpoint. The Holy Spirit to give me certain things, certain instructions to give you. But then there's still a professional level that you need to deal with, because some of those things that you're dealing with, it's not coming out. But a Black man will say quick, I don't need nobody. Won't get no better. Dealing with childhood trauma, still saying the same thing. I don't need nobody. I don't need nobody. Yes, you need somebody to talk to. And as long as you don't talk to nobody, it's going to get worse. You know what? I'm going to tell you what happens to that feeling of suicide. It just leaves. It goes out. Watch, you rebuke it. It goes out into a dry place. But then the Bible says it comes back and knock on the door and see if the house is swept and garnished and see if it can come back in again. Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to do. You beat it last season, but you ain't really talked to nobody about it. You ain't really talk to nobody because you really don't want nobody to feel like you depressed. You don't want nobody to feel like you oppressed. You don't want nobody to feel like that. Or you don't want anybody to know that you deal with that. And so because of that, you keep going through these same cycles. You got to know that in order to find your real identity, you first got to deal with what happened. You got to deal with it. You got to see it. You got to deal with it. You got to deal with all of those things that happen. You got to deal with rejection. You know, I'm going to tell y'all something. It don't matter how a person looks or what they got. Every man fears rejection. Because rejection says that no one wants me. Rejection. Every man fears rejection, but won't say nothing. So you know that how some men deal with rejection. Some men deal with rejection by running. As soon as you get into a relationship where you found you a lady and you feeling good about her and she feeling good about you, and she says something that kind of challenges you and something where it kind of made you feel a type of way, you run. And you run because you ain't got over some things yet. You run because you have a fear of rejection. Well, I ain't got no fear of rejection. I don't need her. No. You fooling yourself. You do need her. You just want to stay dominant. You want to stay dominant. You don't really want to feel nothing. You want to be in control of everything. You want to feel dominant. So as soon as your heart begins to feel anything, you begin to think about that what you have lost, and think about that what you went through, and that watch this, that traumatic trigger come back and remind you, and then you know what you do? You stop calling. You block the number. That they don't hear from you no more. Why? Because you're scared of rejection. And you need to first admit that. First of all, how are you going to deal with rejection if you don't change? You got to first say, I got a problem with rejection. Black men, we have problem with being affectionate. I'm going to tell you right now, I was not this affectionate. Let me take me a sip on that. I was not. I'm gonna give y'all a minute. Where y'all at? I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you raw. I was not an affectionate man. No, sir. People see my interaction with my wife, and it's real. Real. I was not affectionate. Publicly, privately, no. It wasn't a part. But it's because nothing was unlocked in that area. Black men are not like that because you have to trust to be like that. You have to trust. And a lot of you won't become that way because you don't trust. And you keep talking about you looking for your queen, you'll never find her because you're scared. When you meet her, you're scared of. It is imperative that you get the help that you need. It's imperative that you begin to change. It's imperative. Letitia says that this is raw, real, raw, and uncut. Always. You know what? I don't mind talking about me if it's going to help to deliver you. Because my background wasn't perfect. No, it wasn't. But God. No. No, some of the things that I suffered and some of the things that I went through, I wouldn't wish it on my enemy, but God. And so if some of these things will help, then I want to help you. And some of you brothers, I want you to know tonight, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody before you lose some of the people that are in your life. You got to deal with it. You got to deal with breaking that generational curse. You got to break those cycles, because a generational curse ain't nothing but habits that's been passed on. And can I tell you, brother, that it's not going to go out by, we think we're going to be able to cast it out like it's a demon. Yes, some curses are demons, but some or others are just learned behavior that are passed from son to son, person to person. It's just, it's not that is spiritual as you think. The son seen the daddy cussing the mama out, so the son begins to curse. Son sees him cursing his mama out, and he curses, and it just continues on as a violent cycle, Derek, and it never is fixed. But it's not, it's a generational curse, but it's being passed. We were in when I was a boy, I think we were like 5 or 6, maybe 7. We stayed in these apartments called the Blodgett Home in Jacksonville, Florida. Shout out Duval County, always in the Blodgett homes, and you would see 3 generations in these apartments. You would see 3 generations. You see the great grandmama, the grandmama, and the mama in the doggone same apartments. I'm telling you, because and watch, all of them on food stamps. All of them was on food stamps. All of them was on Section 8. And everybody, why? It was taught. So generational curses are taught. We getting ready to get out of here. Getting ready to get out of here. Hopefully I'll be able to get this young man back on. Like I said, he was going to be on with us tonight. But he had a crisis at the last minute. This is what I want to say to some of you men tonight. No matter, this is a brand new year. This is a brand new year. There are brand new things going on. And I want you guys to know that you can be healthy this year. I want you to know that this is a time to be healthy. You understand? This is a time where okay, this is 24. Man, don't walk through 24 the same way you used to walk through. Don't do the same things you were doing. Don't keep thinking that things are getting ready to change and you ain't saying nothing to nobody. I'm gonna say this: we got to build up the Black community again, Sean. We have to the community. When I say the community, the man and the woman, the family unit. That is the Black family unit. Yes, I love everybody else, but please, the Black family unit, the man and the woman. And in order for that to happen, brothers, you got to change, because ain't no woman finna stay with nobody that's calling them out their name. Ain't no woman finna stay with nobody that doesn't protect them in every way. Ain't no woman finna stay with nobody that's abusing them. And there ain't no woman finna stay with nobody that with a man that they feel like is mentally unstable. Because you can't build a foundation on that. And I've had men to inbox me and say, hey, I messed up. I want to get her back. I don't know what to do, but I want to get her back. And you know, some of these men that I had this conversation with, I hadn't already talked with them a couple of times. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm gonna be able to tell you, because I definitely ain't calling them. That's not my segment of the message. So don't wait until something happens. Jeff Torrey says, what happens when God gives you a new beginning? God pledges all things are made new, former things are fade away. God provides us with new beginnings by forgiving and forgetting about the past. Hebrews 8:12. He says, what happens? This is the thing. Just because it's a new beginning, you still have to deal with ripple effect. Okay, listen to this. The Bible says that God forgives, right? And says, and he forgives us, and he throws it in the sea of forgetfulness. That's what the Bible says. God forgives us, he throws it into the sea of forgetfulness, right? Okay. That's true. But there's still ripple effects from what we do. It's a new beginning, it's a new year, but there's still some things that I have to take care of. There's some ripple effects from 23 that I still got to take care of. So even though God puts you on a new path, and even though God makes all things new, there's still a ripple effect. If you take a brick, or you take a rock, and you throw it inside of a pond, you throw it inside of a steel pond. I'm talking about a steel pond. You throw that in there, that wave those ripple effects go out. So even though it's forgiven, there's still a ripple effect. If you cussed her out and you done called her all out of name, and you've been doing this for the last 6 or 7 months, or you've been doing it for the last few years, and you go to her after you hear this broadcast tonight, and you say, I want you to forgive me. I really want you to forgive me. I've spoken to you and I've done so many things, and I really want you to forgive me. And she says, yes, I forgive you. But you got to realize there are scars on her soul. It may not be no scars on her body, but there are scars on her soul from everything that you have said. And it's going to take a while for those ripple effects to come back to a calm pond and a calm sea. Because you got to realize every time that she was abused in any kind of way, that's a new rock thrown in that pond, and those are new waves and new ripples. And so after a while, you got a roaring sea. You got a pond that's like a roaring sea from everything going in it. So yeah, like Joe Toy said, yeah, God turns all things new. He makes it all new. But you still got to deal with the ripple effect. The ripple effect is what you got to deal with. Tonight, you, I want you to plant a seed tonight. Don't just plant any seed, plant a seed for some of those men that are in there. And some of you ladies plant a seed for things that you deal with. I already know. I talk to everybody. We speak to the men, but I also know it speaks to everybody. Tonight, plant a seed tonight. You can plant it at God's Man on Deck, 633. It's at the bottom right here. Or you can go to my website, godsmanondeck.com. Plant that seed. That's 633. Some of you, you can plant $6.33, or plant what's on your heart. If it spoke to you, touch you, especially, plant what's on your heart tonight. Plant a seed. Put that seed inside the ground. This is going to be a brand new year. But brothers, there are going to be some changes that you're going to have to make. So I want you to go to it. You can Cash App God's Man on Deck 633, or you can go to my website, godsmanondeck.com, www.godsmanondeck.com. Go and sow a seed tonight. Mick Entire said, my husband is watching with me. Thank God. And some of you men tonight, inbox me. I am making a platform, and if it comes together right, what I'll start doing is I'll be selecting people, and we'll come together in a conversation. We'll come together on a Zoom conversation and begin to talk about a lot of these things. Yes, this is a new year. It's a new beginning, but there's some things that you got to do. All right. There's some places that you got to go. There's some things that you got to do. Sow your seed tonight. Sow your seed tonight on that Cash App, God's Man on Deck 633. I'll go to the website, godsmanondeck.com. All right. We want you to know that God is doing some great things. Please remember our God's Man of the Week, because I want you guys. I really want you guys. I want to select some men. And also, we got coming up, we'll have the information for you. It'll be on our flyer, be on our website. We're gonna have the adult men challenging the young men for some game of basketball. It's coming up February 10th. You're gonna see the flyer up for that. If you want your son to be a part of that, you're in the Charlotte area, we want you. Why are we doing that? Because we want to be a part of these young men's life. A lot of single parents. And so we want to do what we can do for those young men. And for some of you and I want my son to be a part of that. I want you to come, and I want you to come and make him known. We have some men at the church that'll take the names down, And so we're building up for this. We want you to be a part of that. Next week, God's Man on Deck, our God's Man on the Week. I want you to put that man's name in there, put some of those things in there. We want to start celebrating some of these brothers, celebrating some of these organizations. That's a lot. It's a lot that I don't know. A lot of people I don't know. It was definitely some men that I would like to bring on here. Who would you like to see on God's Man on Deck? Go ahead on and put that inside the inbox. Let us know. Sow your seed tonight. God's at the Cash App, God's Man on Deck, 633. Or you can go to the website, godsmanondeck.com. Sow a seed tonight, 633. Matthew 633. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and all of these things shall be added unto you. You can either sow a seed of $6.33. You can do it in different increments if you want to, or just sow what's on your heart, right? So what's on your heart tonight? All right, we're getting ready to get out of here. We're thankful. I'm thankful for everything that God is doing in your life. And get ready, because it's not over yet. It's just beginning.